is going on, everybody? Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 138. My name is Zach Graham, your host here in the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud, and we call him... We are here on a Sunday afternoon, coming off yet another Austin FC victory, the hottest team in MLS over the last month. How you feeling, my friend?
Whew. I am feeling shocked, stunned in the best way possible. Definitely didn't see blanking those boys yesterday, but man, we put it on them. Watching that rewatch yesterday too, after, the game that felt like a fever dream, watching it there with our buddies down there in the Bay. But man,
the Gulf.
It was the Gulf Bay of
down
Mexico.
in dirty ass waters. We got Galveston references on Inside the NBA.
Oh man, and I guess it's official though. We are now banned from the stadium.
I really didn't want to have to dive into this type of science, right? Because we like the sample sizes, we like the stats here in the North End, and the sample size for you, E. Since September 2021, every Austin FC home match that I have missed, they have come out victorious. So I don't know if I'm going to have to. I mean, if we lose the next home match, like, we may be onto something here. I don't know.
Really might have just solved all the team's problems. We really just got to the bottom of it right there. So there's the in-depth analysis from that game. Yeah, we
can keep it moving here. I will say, I didn't include you in that sample size because you've missed a couple other games. So maybe that's the first answer, is you still get to go and then I have to stay home. But again, we won't have to experiment with any of that if this team keeps fucking rolling like they are right now. Hottest team in the league over the last month, as I said earlier. Shoot, man, we could sit here and talk about how good of a weekend we had hanging out with all our buddies down at the beach. But we're here to talk about that specific 2-hour period. So let's jump into it. Early one at Q2 Stadium, right? Second earliest kickoff in club history. And we got the lineup. Maybe not so much some surprises in the 11 or on the bench, but certainly some changes, right? You do get the start from Emiliano Rigoni. You do get Julio Cascante inserted back into the starting 11 coming off of his yellow card accumulation suspension. And then you see Owen Wolff, who was listed questionable coming into the match, available on the bench. And, 9 players on that bench. That's a full team, E.
Dude, I was definitely worried about Owen. I didn't think he was going to be able to play like you talked about there, not necessarily like a bunch of surprises with the 11, but I was pretty surprised that he was healthy enough to go, given how Josh kind of danced around that earlier. We got the Emi Rigoni call. We called it and we talked ourselves into it last pod and we weren't too thrilled about it, but man, he played really well. And I thought he looked really good. He looked way more, taking that goal out of the Houston game, this was obviously a much more complete piece of work than he got in that Houston matchup because it was such a limited amount of time, but he was impactful on both sides of the ball.
Yeah. And I think he was, again, there wasn't, like you said, right, there's not that miraculous game-winning goal that pops up in this one, but I think I'm with you, both sides of the ball. I think he was solid, nothing special, but 3 weeks ago, we didn't know if we were ever going to see him. We knew we were going to see some minutes, but I think he's done a good job. Again, I would give him credit for building on his, 20-minute performance in Houston. I think this was another step in the right direction for him.
Totally agree. He should have gotten an assist too.
Yeah.
He definitely should have had an assist, and he very easily could have had a goal if that incredible ball from Seba just is
doesn't get to
half an inch little longer than that. So, but yeah, he was impactful on both sides, and his confidence looked there, which makes sense, obviously, coming off the game winner. And this was the time to give him a chance. And we kept asking, when is he going to get this chance again? When are we going to be able to trust him in any sort of situation again? And this is a right step in that direction, big time for me.
It'll be interesting to see that positional battle continue to play out, because really it's just kind of, I think, between Emmy and Owen at this point for that starting spot. Anything else for you on the lineup? The bench was Cleveland, Valencia, Hedges, Jimenez, Kolmanič, Wolf, Fodre, Finley, and Zardes.
No, I mean, I more so looked over there and saw No Joveljic and was like, yes, that is fantastic. We'll definitely take that. But nothing too in depth for me on our 11 here.
Well, so we can go ahead and jump into this one. There is a lot to talk about from the first half. Starting here in the 5th minute here, Driussi, with his first of multiple whirls through double from the Galaxy players. This one in the middle of the park, drawing some oohs and ahs from that Q2 stadium crowd. He then taps it out to Biru, who was charging down the left. He slides it onto Rigoni, and he boots it right back to Seba, 10 yards above the area, still on the left side here. Almost an identical pass, a little bit wider from where he made this attempt, but almost an identical pass over the top, this time trying to find Obrian running in behind like he found Rubio a few weeks back. And Obrian gets his legs tangled without shouts for a penalty. It gets checked and none given. And I think on the replay, I think it's the correct call, because it does look like even if there's contact from Aude, like a little bit, he trips over Rubio. So I was fine with that ultimately after seeing the replay on the broadcast.
I was also fine with it. I thought maybe if Diego wasn't there, he could have gotten the call. But yes, like you said, Diego being there is what ultimately probably took him down in that situation. There was
that holds up. Yeah, for sure. But I don't want to make you upset here, but marginal contact. Off that restart, because of course, like the check holds the game up for a minute or two there. So 7th minute here. Danny and Emmy able to squeeze Yamane on that near sideline on the broadcast camera and cause a turnover. That ball falls to the feet of Driussi, who starts the break. He pivots the point of attack to Alex Ring, who's out to his right. And Ring immediately gets it forward to Rubio, who was checking back just outside the top of the box. And Rubio, nifty give and go here with Obrian to get in behind the back line, takes his shot, slots it home inside that back post. Fucking brilliant start. They might, it was pretty windy out there in Galveston, but I think the folks on the beach might have heard us inside at the beach house when that one went down. Great start.
Incredible start. Just transforming defense into offense very quickly. Some nice interplay between those guys. A heady run by Diego. Great ball by Jader, man. Just a beautiful thing to see. And now we're on the front foot and really rolling here, feeling great.
Yeah, 9th minute here. Cáceres gets a yellow card for pushing down Diego Rubio off of a corner as the players are setting up for that. And you see on the replay, Diego Rubio is in Ricky Puig's face, waiting on that corner kick, and then Cáceres comes over and makes contact, like kind of to Rubio's neck area. But of course, as usual, Rubio sells the shit out of this and draws the yellow. And it's the beginning of multiple extracurriculars in this game. And I thought overall, Austin really dominated the mental side of this game. And it started right after that first goal. Like now Diego's on full tilt after scoring and then drawing a yellow card. And then I think he makes like this like half crying motion at Cáceres. It was, he was on one last night.
Bro, he set the tone for us. First, when he pushes Pooch down, gives him a good two-handed shove and just goes, you're not running free on us for 90 minutes here. And we were physical with him right from the jump. Diego was in his head immediately. I'm just so grateful this dude's on our team because he would be so miserable to play against. I don't know how these other teams on their scouting report are just like, don't even look at this guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, don't talk to him. Don't look at him because he's going to get under your skin. He is a pest. But man, I love that he's on our team. Like, an awesome, like to have a striker being able to do that kind of stuff, mixing it up in there. He's always in the box too, mixing shit up. Like it's fun. It makes it a lot more fun.
Yeah. Hey man, there's a reason why he got his signing, got a live stream from the North End podcast in the offseason. Some of those others didn't. Diego Rubio I can't wait till salary cap Christmas to see exactly how cheap we got him. Because I think, look, if it's anywhere around that 350K number that Jeff Carlisle reported in the offseason, and we heard some whispers that it might be even lower than that, it's such, I mean, we said it at the time, but it's just, it's proving to be a steal.
An absolute steal. It's been wonderful. I mean, even if he came in at 400K, 500K, I'd still be excited about just what he's giving us, because it's been fantastic pretty much every single game. He always brings it, man. He's always ready. Lunch pail in hand.
He's already the most consistent. I guess it's a 10-game sample, right? But I think or I guess I'll ask you this. Is it fair to say that he is the most consistent striker that we've ever had, even in just 10 games?
I mean, yeah, I said it after like 3 or 4.
Okay.
But yes, well, I mean, the combination, obviously, Danny Houston was very talented.
Yeah, he had so many flashes, or not so many, but when they came, it was like, whoa.
It was awesome. Injured pretty often. You know, G had a solid year last year. It wasn't anything incredible or along those lines, but
he had that stretch in the summer where he got like all but one of his goals in like a 6-game stretch or something.
I mean, we've been waiting on it. We've been talking about it since game 2, when we're like, wait till we get 10 back and we can combine him here with Rubio and like see what they can really start to build. And they are building it, and they're just going to keep stacking it. And it's awesome to see. His work rate is fantastic. We were consistently stretching them out really wide to get these nice plays in behind their back line. And it was a thing of beauty from start to finish.
10th minute here. Joseph Painso splits Danny and Ring on the left side of the box and is able to fire a shot that Stuver blocks out for another Galaxy corner, and nearly some individual brilliance there from Painso.
Yeah.
But then on that corner, Stuver grabs it out of the air and throws the long outlet to Hader Obrian down the left side. Yoshida ends up having to just clear it out for a throw, but Austin extremely lively here. They started, even before the goal, they had the energy. And now at this point, I think after the goal, really feeding off the crowd, not just their own momentum.
And it didn't feel like any sort of fluke kind of goal. Like, we felt lucky about it. We're like, we're going to be the better team today. And we were definitely the better team yesterday than a much more talented team than we are. And I thought our physicality was fantastic. Like, I talked about Pooch getting roughed up quite a bit. Like, everybody, we were physical from the jump. And I love this long throw that we have kind of added this wrinkle into our offensive side of the game plan, where if Hot Air's got one-on-one, like let's let that thing go. And Stuve has done a great job. We haven't seen it in a couple games, honestly.
Yeah.
And so like getting it back out there was great to see. And that was a perfect time to take that chance.
Yep. Jumping ahead here, 19th minute, just over the last 10 minutes, game is extremely open. Both teams, multiple threatening possessions, some high quality individual technical ability on display for both teams. Brugman here pokes the ball away from Ring in the defensive half. And Miguel Berry runs onto that ball, but Alex Ring just immediately on his horse takes like 4 or 5 steps, slides, like textbook tackle, hunting down that ball. And like, that's the second time in 3 matches we've seen him have one of those, like, it's game changing here. And I think you can make the argument that against St. Louis, that tackle chasing that guy down halfway, I think it was Ostrak, halfway up the field, could be game changing as well. Because St. Louis, that's how they burn you on the break there. So again, I think I have to back off the take from a couple games ago that Alex Ring has taken a step back, and that still may play out to be the case. But over the last 3 or 4 matches, he has ratcheted up his play. And if that continues to be consistent throughout the final 24 games of this year, or the remaining 24 games, you feel a lot better about our chances, especially if you can buy him down and bring in another GP in that spot and keep Alex Ring.
I mean, this was his best game of the season. He was absolutely out of his mind. He was fantastic on the ball. His completed passes were excellent. Obviously, he gets the assist here with Hot Air coming up, and man, it's a great thing to see, and that's DP level stuff from Alex there, which, like you said, if there's a way to keep him around and everything and forget the tag, that's a core you build around. You know what I mean? Like, that's a core piece where you have more talented guys around him. And that's a guy who makes huge plays like this, difference making plays in games in the future.
Yeah, not comparing the style of player, and Alejandro Bedoya does have a few more years on Alex Ring still, but like feels similar to a piece like that where he's probably never going to be your best player on the pitch, but all of those intangibles, the leadership and the quality that he still does have. And like you mentioned, you see it here because it's not just the tackle. Then he immediately pops up on the ball, takes a touch, and fires a long pass to Hader Obrian, who is streaking in behind that Galaxy backline. And he's in the Austin half when that pass is made. So even though he's behind that backline, still onside, and takes, I think, 2 touches. And I would say Hader Obrian won the day in his weekly battle against his first touch. And so, takes those 2 touches, picks his head up from the right at full speed, pings it off that left post and in 2-0 in the first 20 minutes. And man, say goals change games. Getting that second one was huge.
Massive, because initially I'll jump back a little bit. I thought Paintsel had a goal there with a really nice individual play, splits Pepe and I believe it was Alex.
Yeah.
Good save from Stu right there, or back then when we were talking about that. But man, first of all, you're not catching Obrian. Like, it's not happening. Corner center back there. Was Yoshida? Was he 37?
Yeah. Well, and look at the difference between the first. Sorry, you were maybe going to get there, but the difference between that first touch against St. Louis and the first touch on this play is night and day.
Yep, and just a wonderful class play to put it in that back post and just kind of like squeak it in there, and man, felt really good then.
Yep. 22nd minute. Feeling even better. Ricky Pooch picks up a yellow card after he comes together with Alex Ring. Austin was all the way in his head at this point.
All the way.
Yeah, he wasn't really present at this point. And of course does have some flashes as the game goes on. But like I mentioned earlier, Austin dominated the mental game. And you saw it visibly throughout the rest of this one. 26th minute here. Austin putting more pressure on that Galaxy backline. Driussi tries to get Rigoni in behind. This is the ball that you said, if there's just a half inch more on that pass, that Rigoni's maybe putting it in the back of the net as well. But Aude able to get a touch out for a corner. And then on the corner, though, again, the putting that ball to the near post where we've had a lot of fans wondering what's going on there. Look, just go back and watch every corner that we've taken over the last month. We're doing this on purpose. Props to Rigoni here, putting it right on the head of Biru, props to Biru, who has been extremely available there in the right spot, making good plays, flicks it on nicely towards that back post. But Yamane was able to clear this one out before Alex Ring could get to it. And then right here, man, nervy moment because the Galaxy take off on a counterattack of their own. Joseph Paintsel is taken out by Hader Obrian here, and he gets a yellow card. Very dangerous challenge. I think I've seen softer challenges get red cards, and I felt pretty fortunate that Hader was able to stay in the game there. It's not the most menacing tackle, but his studs were up, at least on that second foot that comes up to shin level, closer to the knee. Like we got a little lucky there, I think.
I definitely thought he was going to be thrown out of the game because that second foot is so high. But I do want to go touch back on you bringing up this mental aspect of the game that we just dominated on. Nobody has made the Galaxy look the way we made them look yesterday. Yeah. Nobody. Not anyway. They have the one loss before us to LAFC, which was a good game, but nobody has shut them out, which we did, and nobody has made them look more pedestrian in their attack. And that is just a huge credit to the coaching staff and the players to go out there and execute. And it was just a wonderful sight to see. Now with this one, look. So Obrian starts this game out. We get the foul call on Diego when he pushes Ricky down. Obrian kicks the ball after the play.
Does he?
Yeah, kicks it over, just like over the net almost. So the ref's like, what the hell's that? Then obviously he gets this yellow here. We have the play coming up later where he spikes the ball. Yeah. So Diego's rubbing off on him a little too much, I think. We got to get those.
Hader isn't like, I don't feel like he's trained enough in the dark arts to just be fully unleashing it and trying to match Diego's energy. Like, we still have a couple more training sessions to go in that aspect, I think.
The dark arts, very good.
32nd minute here. Obi and Emmy switching wings momentarily, and Obrian finds himself with some space on the left side of the Galaxy penalty area. He finds Seba, who was checking back from a run that he had made just seconds earlier. And Seba turns at the top of the box here, maybe 2-3 yards left center of net here. And I think he's just unaware of how open he actually was when he turned around and was like, shit, like there's not a defender didn't follow me here. Are you kidding? That he takes that half beat and doesn't really do, like, I think was kind of just awestruck. Like, you're going to leave me this wide open. He does get closed down on in that moment and kind of taps it back to Danny, who was, I don't know, 5 yards outside the box. Danny takes a touch and rips a shot into 124. But I think Seba, if he's just a little bit more aware of his surroundings when he gets that ball, could probably dart into the box and probably score. It would have been a very similar chance to the one he gets in the second half.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen him do crazier stuff than that, and I think you're spot on there. Like, just not knowing that he was going to be so wide open in that situation.
Why would he be?
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I don't know if you have this in your notes or anything, but it's definitely something that I want to bring up with 10 and his defensive play yesterday.
Yep,
tracking back, runs the full field to take that ball off Ricky, like, and pushes him for good measure. Get, little tiny ass boy, get out of here. Like, it was just awesome to see. And he has been, there's been a new commitment to the defensive side of the ball from 10 this year. It is a new wrinkle to his game where he is committed to playing some hard-nosed defense, which is not necessarily what you want to see, or what a prototypical 10, a striker, like an attacking kind of player wants to get dirty and muck it up. Like, it's beautiful.
The 10 on the other side wasn't doing that.
Nope, he did none of that. They got two guys behind him to make sure that he doesn't have to do that stuff, and like we have our guys in those situations who bring their different type of element to the game. But this commitment that we have seen from him with hustle plays, defensive plays, is just a huge tip of the cap to his maturity levels going up.
Well, man, you mentioned him chasing down Ricky on that break. That was great work. Then but then like moments later, right, he kicks the ball out and goes down, and like, what is it, like once every 3.5 matches that he goes down grabbing something, and you're just like, you see the whole season flash before your eyes.
Yeah.
And then 2 minutes later, he's just fought like nothing happened. It's
yeah.
Like, man, maybe he's just like needs a breather in that moment after running the full field, and is just, let's wipe the, like in basketball, right? Oh, let me get a breather, so let me wipe the floor. It's sweaty right here, ref.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Stop doing that.
Yeah. I don't know why he does it, just to make sure.
Or just don't like give us a little like sneaky thumbs up. Like we need a safe word, right? Like, yeah. It's just something like, I don't know, raise your right leg off the ground or something. Like,
there's the signal. He's fine.
Yeah, hold up 3 fingers. So, 34th minute here, Austin back on the counter after the next Galaxy possession, and Rubio holds up the play on the left while he waits for some teammates to catch up. He finds Ring at the top of the box, and Alex Ring tries to loft a shot right over John McCarthy here, and McCarthy does well to get a hand to it out for a corner, because that was at least going to hit the crossbar, if not dip inside the goal. Easily, in my eyes, the best half hour of Alex Ring's season. And probably the teams.
Yeah, I would say so. And you get so many different types of plays for this stretch from Alex here. You get the huge defensive play, the very heady assist to get the ball up the field, and then this super cheeky, hey, are you paying attention back there, keeper? Like, because here comes a nice little shot your way. And like, just, it was awesome, man. I was just like, who is this guy right now? And he was playing out of his mind. The only thing that bad that happened to him was Pepe gave him that free kick, and while he's looking down, like tying his shoes, it bops him in the face.
Oh yeah.
It's like, what the hell?
Yeah. Well, when you said, make sure the keeper's paying attention. Hey, keeper, are you awake? 35th minute, foul on Alex Ring, about 8 yards outside the Austin area. And as they start to complain to official Victor Rivas, Ricky Pooch takes the free kick immediately, finds Paintsel darting in behind. Stuver, fantastic save here. Austin avoids disaster. And like, what the hell are the rules when it comes to free kicks? Like, I guess I just don't understand if the ref, like, you blow for a foul. I know you can restart it quickly, but when can you? Because like sometimes the ref will then hold it up.
Yeah.
And I guess it's if he's like maybe having to discipline, whether it's cards or just a talking to, or he's communicating with his other officials. But I don't see this type of restart very often. And just in my head at the time, I was like, hey, what the, like,
yeah,
come back here.
particularly in that end of the field.
Yeah.
Sometimes you go fast, like you got the ball on your back line, you just put it down, go real quick.
Right.
And they seem to have no issue with that. But this one, we're clearly going to try to set up a wall of some sort. Like we're going to get our defense set. Like I don't get it either. But I said we needed 2 big saves out of Stuver to win this game, and we got 2 big saves out of Bradley Scott Stuver.
It's a good call. 44th minute here, closing out the half. Card for Danny as he takes a foul in transition. Game was getting wide ass open again, so I thought that was a good, solid, smart tactical foul. It also noted that Obrian misses Guilherme Biru just before this play, who was wide open down the left and holding his hand up. And just didn't see him. But Biru, again, like, I thought Biru was extremely solid on the night too, because we've been impressed with the offensive ability, right? The deft touches that he has and his ability to move and find space and seemingly assimilate to this system more and more week over week. But I thought defensively today, again, he and Johnny had their work cut out for them with Peck and Paintsill, and then Fagundes comes on later. I thought Biru was great.
I thought Biru was fantastic again. He is also very sneaky, athletic, like, and the way he moves out there, like you can just tell this he's a gamer, he's a hooper. Like you just love to have him out there. He has been such a different wrinkle to our team. I've said wrinkle 3 or 4 times already. He's been such a different, bring a different aspect to our team than you get out of Kolmanič, man. Like it's just night and day, really. Yeah.
We'll talk a little bit more about Kolmanič after the game. 45th minute here, Ricky Puig takes a crack from, 25 yards. And this is a world-class shot that is met with a world-class save by Bradley Scott Stuver. Pause it over the bar and out for a corner and keeping that clean sheet headed into the half. We also, third minute of stoppage here. Obrian's not able to keep a switching ball from Driussi in bounds. And this is where, like you mentioned earlier, he spikes it and the ball lands in the crowd. And when you're on a yellow like that, man, that's just poor judgment. Like you could have absolutely been tossed for that. And I don't think we could have said boo.
Yeah. Particularly because he definitely could have got tossed for the actual yellow you got there. And to do that, that's not part of the dark arts, brother. You get the one. You get one. You don't get the 2, which I guess he didn't do. But yeah, he was feeling spicy yesterday.
That's the fucking dumb arts, bro. You can't do that.
He was feeling spicy.
Coming out of the half, 2 changes for the Galaxy. You do get Fagundes and Neal on for Barry and Caceres. And to be honest, there's not a ton of notes here in the second half. And thanks in part to Austin's back line and team defense as a whole being extremely solid and just corralling. Again, like I think the threat from the Galaxy was neutralized the majority of the second half. But 53rd minute here, Puig tries to drop a pass into the Austin penalty area, and on the bounce, like nobody gets to it. It lands in the 18, and then Biru tries to head it back towards Stuber, but those two, big miscommunication because Brad was coming to get it, and Biru heads it back to him like he's on his line. And Stuber, I think his second best save of the night was on fucking Biru.
Yeah, it really might have been.
So you save the disaster then, because if you let that one in, then you may come unraveled quickly.
Yeah, that was definitely some bad vibes potential to happen right there.
Yeah. And then 58th minute here, we get Austin's first sub, which is Owen Wolf coming on for Hadar Obrian. And I actually I heard and saw a lot of Austin fans, and maybe it's just what my algorithm is feeding me. But I saw some complaints about like this. It was either too early or you didn't take off the right winger. Like it should have been Rigoni coming out, or it's not, like it should be CJ or it should be Finley. I just don't get it, man. Like the last time Owen Wolf was starting for us, we were doing pretty fucking well, especially at home. And he didn't do anything. He was the starter the last time he was healthy, and he has done nothing to lose that spot. And I think for me, I also saw some folks calling for like a CJ sub later on in the match too, just up to get him some more run out there. And I get that argument. I was surprised to see that right in the moment after the match, because my mind was not on CJ at all. And that's not because we don't love CJ and like we want him to continue to develop and get minutes and get those opportunities. But to me, it didn't seem like that was the right move. Like, give me the more defensive, also young, much more proven defender at this level out there on the wing in Owen Wolff. So I was a little bit perplexed by that. Because that wasn't, those takes to me weren't just coming from like the people who see the name on the back of the jersey and don't want him on the field. Like, I saw it a lot of places.
That's very interesting to me, because Obrian seemed like the most obvious sub to make in the situation. Like, they got Caceres out because he was on a yellow.
Yeah,
we got Obrian out because he was on a yellow. And also, Owen is just a better defender than Hot Air, you know, and the game had kind of turned into like, we're giving them possession. We got to track back. We're obviously parking this bus a little bit later here, sitting in low block, and Owen can do all that stuff. So yeah, I don't get that take at all.
Yeah. Well, and you bring it like he's on a yellow card, right? So like we've seen that book before where like we don't sub out a Danny Pereira at Dallas with a yellow card and he picks up a second yellow. With some of that, you know, just the lack of focus and the understanding of the moment and the game state. And we saw some of that out of Hodder already in the first half. Yeah. So again, I don't know. I thought that made sense to me. 59th minute here, Seba spins out of trouble again. More oohs and ahs from the crowd. Starting the break here, he finds Emi Rigoni down that left side. Rigoni's first cross attempt is blocked, but it falls right back to his feet, and he just pings a pass to Seba, who's now progressed inside of the Galaxy 18-yard box. Driussi dekes around Yoshida, leaves him in the dust, just in on McCarthy here, and I think Seba can do better to place this ball, but also credit to John McCarthy, because I thought this was his best stop of the game. Between that and the one on Ring, McCarthy definitely didn't have a bad game in my eyes, and this was a good moment for him here, stopping Seba.
It's a good point, because there's nothing he could have done about those first two goals. They were just so well placed. Yeah, man, that would have been. I definitely thought he should have scored here. I think he thought he should have scored there. Good save. Got to give that keeper credit for sure. But man, that would have been sweet. Go up 3-0 there.
Yep, because then you're starting the party. Then I'm saying, then let's bring CJ on. You know, 63rd minute here. Austin pounces on a Galaxy turnover at the back. Rubio wins it off Ricky Pooch, and then Seba gets on that loose ball. He finds Rubio, who had just taken off after getting the touch down the right. And it looks like this might be goal number 3 here as well. Still a tough angle, but as he winds up for the shot, it looked like Diego kind of loses his footing there, and the ball just dribbles harmlessly into the waiting arms of McCarthy. But again, like, it's nice to, again, we've said this multiple times over the last month in these recap pods, but like, it's nice to be on the other side of where like the other team is in the horseshoe, because we are up and we're controlling the pace. And when they have a mistake at the back, we pounce on it. And again, don't convert here. But breaking news, winning is fun.
Dude, one thing that's not going to show up on the stat sheet really or anything like that with Diego was his ability to take on some of these more progressed passes and then give us time to get some of those guys out from that super low block that we were in. And he was buying us time in those situations, and that was really big for us because it was able to take some of that pressure off. Not that they had a lot of really good chances that were super threatening here in the second half, but I thought that was a really instrumental part to this game.
Yep, that's a good point. 65th minute here, Cerrillo in for Brugman, and then 2 minutes later, Driussi again drawing a reaction from the sellout crowd at Q2 as he spins out of a double team in the defensive third near that far sideline from the broadcast angle. Starts another break here for Austin. This possession ends in a Driussi shot attempt from about 30 yards that goes into the south end. We've seen him score from there. I think there were other options, specifically Alex Ring out to the right of him on this break, and maybe have a little bit more patience and get a better look. Ultimately, I'm not complaining, but that may be something that comes up in the film room this week.
He was going for a kill shot for sure. Yeah. He was going for the dagger. Yeah.
70th minute here. The Diegos collide. in that Galaxy defensive end. Hard foul from Fagundes here. And then talk about extracurriculars. Fagundes stands over Rubio here, like putting kind of both knees into his back almost there. And then Rubio pushes him off. And then after he pushes him off, gives him this little like nah wave and kind of shoos him away. And holy shit, man, did I love to see that. Because look, man, like we said on Wednesday, and like we said last year when Fagundes came back last September, we're always cheering for him, except 2 times a year.
Yeah, dude.
When you play the good guys, and then it's fuck you for 90 minutes and get the fuck off our new Diego. And look, man, you don't start nothing, you won't get nothing. There was again, this wasn't the only time where there was some extracurriculars where our guys didn't look too happy about his actions.
I agree. It was, look, man, like I said, we punked them early and often. And this was a huge punking by Rubio to Fagundes here, just to like wave him off, like you're not doing anything, you got nothing going on, and you're also not going to do shit. So like, calm down.
Yeah.
So there was plenty of situations where we're just in their head, man, and they they didn't want it. They just were not ready for the type of intensity that we brought to the field yesterday. And it's just another great reason to just fucking love this team. I love this tean.
Yeah, I know. It's so fun to fucking cheer for them.
They're I love this team. Yeah. Rubio, man. But
likable bunch.
Fagundes is putting his knees right in the dude's shoulder, like as he's almost kind of trying to like get up. Like, bro, you cannot do that.
And to be honest, man, like I know we all saw the Klaus foul on Agata last week, or the foul that wasn't. This is not that physical. But I thought he could have been carded there. Like it was a pretty just like I'm taking you out type of challenge. I didn't really think there was play on the ball, but anyways, we can keep moving here. And there's not a ton the rest of the way because again, Austin just does a great job of shutting down any Galaxy threat. Like I did not feel super threatened in the last 20 minutes as much as, I'm sitting on pins and needles still.
Yeah,
because we are in uncharted waters here, at least in the recent past. But yeah, man, I mean, 72nd minute, you get Zardes in for Rubio. 2 more changes for the Galaxy in the 79th with Perez and Cuevas on for Aude and Yamane. Then Finley and Valencia for Emmy and Danny in the 82nd to close it out. And then for good measure here, Valencia maybe taking out some of the team's frustrations in the middle of the park here because the Galaxy are on a break in the 89th minute and Johan Valencia just takes out Diego Fagundes away from the ball, nowhere near the play, gets a yellow card, just his 3rd on the year, so still a ways away from a potential yellow card suspension. But I like to see that, man, biting back. Look, man, we don't care who you are when we're in between those lines.
Absolutely.
You're on the other team. Yeah. Get the fuck off of us.
Absolutely. As you should, man. And with Johan and his yellow card stuff, I want to see his per 91 because obviously he doesn't get a lot of minutes. But yeah, I liked it. It was how we started the game, is how we ended the game. The tone was set throughout the entire 90 minutes of this match.
It's a good point. I agree. 41% possession for Austin. And again, you continue to see the flexibility this season that's a little bit different from last season in terms of how we play. And that's on a game-to-game basis as well as overall. But this team not having to win possession to pick up some wins here, which is nice to see. Winning in different fashions, right? Over the last 5 games, right? 4 wins. You get the 2-1 comeback victory against Dallas, a little bit more of a grinded out type of game. 4-3 shootout win. Then you get the lucky win at Houston. And then you get this complete and utter domination wire to wire here against the Galaxy. So I don't know, it's like, to me, 4 very different game scripts and coming out on top and finding different ways to win is extremely promising for the rest of this season.
Yep. I mean, we opened them up pretty early, got wide on them, and was able to really expose that their back line is slower and old. And that's the weak point. We targeted it with a very precise game plan, which was to spread them out. Biru could then move into the inside, still maintain some sort of defensive formation for us to slide back into as well. And then picking and choosing your spots the right way and, finishing your dinner, which is something we've been asking this team to do. And now that's starting to come along a little bit, And, man, it was just an absolutely awesome performance from everybody out there.
16 shots to 9 in favor of the Galaxy, but 5 apiece on target. 3 big chances for Austin, only 1 missed. Have to think that is that Seba shot in the second half. No big chances for the Galaxy. 10 corners to 2 in favor of the Galaxy. 1.03 XG for Austin, 2.57 for the Galaxy on FOTMob's model. And then that expected goals on target, 2.32 for Austin to 1 flat for the Galaxy. And let's take a look at the table here, shall we? Because Austin now 4-3-3 on the year, and that is the first time that Austin FC has been over 500 in 407 days, and that feels pretty good.
That is wild.
Yeah, so
Wolf talked about it a little bit before this matchup. It was like, we can't get into an up and down game with this team. We can't be running with this team like how they want to do it. So when you read off those stats there, it was controlled on our end. The pace, even though we didn't have full possession, that you see these big numbers sometimes were skewed in our way. We still were able to control and dictate the pace at which they played. And sometimes that was putting Ricky Puig on his ass. Sometimes that was putting Diego Fagundes on his ass to temper this high-powered attack coming at us. Yeah. And that's how you win a game like this. You muck it up. We had the yellows. You still beat them on, expected goals and everything. And that's just, it was awesome, man.
Yeah. And then, again, coming back to this table, man, we leave that game, of course, before all of the rest of the match day kicks off in the evening, but we were tied for 3rd coming out of that game. And now we sit tied for 5th, 7th in the Western Conference table on goal differential tiebreakers. And then I'm not actually sure what the 3rd tiebreaker is. I think it's probably total goals between us and Colorado there. They have 2 more goals scored, although still a same +1 goal differential like Austin. Again, 12 points in their last 5 matches is the most in MLS. So again, man, I don't know how else to try to discredit, I don't think is the right word, but to try to keep it in perspective. But this is the best team in the league over the last month. And again, that is a very small sample size because we were one of the worst in the first month. But man, I think it is time, at least for me, to not massively, but at least consider recalibrating my expectations for this team. Because I had them 7th, right? Coming into the year. I didn't necessarily think we were going to be sitting on 10 games into the season, right? That's the final product after the summer and getting that final 3rd of the season with the final roster build for 2024, right? After that summer transfer window. But the way they're winning some of these games, the variety of ways that they're winning some of these games, the teams they are beating, again, just because the Galaxy is in first place after 9 matches doesn't mean they are a first place team in the long run. Just like when you beat FC Dallas doesn't mean that they're going to be at the bottom of the Western Conference all season once they get healthy. Again, it's all in flux. And as important as it is to point out that we are just 3 points back of fucking first, which is awesome. All the credit in the world to the coaches and players on this team for getting them to the point that they are, especially after the slow start.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. And one has to think and assume that obviously once this summer, when even they're even talking about it on the announcing now, Austin's got some guys who are going to be showing up similar to what happened with this Galaxy team. It's interesting that they're talking about that now. But look, given the way that we are performing in some of these games now, obviously going back to the start of this season, there have been some really just unwatchable games, moments, halves, what have you, from this club. But we have consistently seen and been shown the fight and the resiliency that this team has and its willingness to just compete. You know what I mean? And just to be able to consistently compete in these games. And if you do that in this league with the amount of congestion that is always going to be circling around this, you're going to find yourself right in this range. You get some favorable results and you bring in some better players. And now you're talking real business. I'm just going to enjoy this ride for as long as I can. Like before these dudes sign up, the highs of it, the lows of it, I have enjoyed. Enjoy might not be the right term, but I have appreciated to be on this continuous journey, this battle that this team has been on this season with something to prove. Like these dudes have something to prove right now, and they are playing that way, and it is awesome to see.
Yeah, I agree. And I don't, like I was saying, we're 3 points back of first, right? I also don't want to lose sight of the fact that we are 3 points above the 9 seed and being right on that wild card bubble. And the fact that 3 and 4, Vancouver and Minnesota, and then 8 and 9, Houston and St. Louis, have a game in hand on us, right? So all things are not equal here. But again, just the overall picture still is a lot rosier, again, like we said last week, than literally everybody else except me and Primo had coming into the season. And yeah, man, all you fucking danguses saying Austin FC gonna be, come on, spoon favorites?
Come on.
It was stupid at the time. You look ridiculous now. And I love to be dancing on the grave of that take.
Let's bury it first. Let's make sure. Let's get to the point where it's actually buried.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, someone's got to tell that Houston team to learn how to score more goals. I don't know. We got 9.
9 in 9 matches, and then behemoths Austin FC 14 goals in 10 matches.
That's right, baby. That's double digits. And like as much as often as people want to point to, well, oh, you only beat San Jose, oh, you only beat Dallas, and it's like we've had this is the schedule that you're going to get. Like these teams are in front of us who aren't really good, but we've also been in some really dire situations in Houston without Julio. Getting this team coming in here red hot. And man, it has been wonderful, because the other thing that I was chatting with H a little bit, and he was really impressed with the way the team looked. And I was just like, dude, it's been great to see this team just get a little better every game. Like just improve a little bit more on some stuff that they obviously are drilling and working on. And now you're seeing the goals actually be finished on. And like that is what is going to be our calling card this whole season, and if we're fortunate enough to make the playoffs, which I definitely do think we will, that's going to be something that we're going to be banking on in that situation as well. So, just keep up the good fight, boys. We got another big test coming up here, and we've been checking off boxes all fucking year. Like we're taking names right now. So we got a big one coming up, but I am just absolutely astounded with the way that this team looked yesterday. Just a complete performance, start to finish, everyone locked in, doing their job. And again, you can really feel the chip on the shoulder now with a lot of these guys, because there's been a lot of noise around a lot of things, and he's terrible and that guy's awful and X is, imagine if that was Y or whatever, and it's like, as much as they say they don't hear it, or it doesn't come up, and like they avoid it. It's like, that's not true. Like you're going to see it. If you're on that shit, you're going to see it. So you can see the chip on the shoulder, and that's a fun thing. That's part of the reason why this team is that much more fun. And you got some dogs out there now, and we're letting them run. And man, it looks and it just feels so much better.
Yep. Couple quotes from Coach Wolf in the post-match presser. I know we listened to that on the way home from the beach today. This man was talkative, and like, as you should be able to be a little bit more loose and open and in better spirits as a coach. If you just won, again, shocker, winning is fun. And especially when you're able to string some wins together as they have. So Coach Wolf said, and he kept the perspective right off the rip too. He says it's 10 games into the season, so we don't get carried away. And then he took a little, there's a little back and forth between him and the regulars there. He said, when you guys were slaughtering us earlier this year, we don't get too bummed out because you guys do what you do. You got to pump out headlines and you got to get readers. I understand that. Whether I agree with that or not, that's what you guys choose to do. We're going to stay humble. We keep working. It's just like, man, but one week, I don't read shit. The other week, I see all that shit you guys say. I was like, come on, bro.
Let me not get carried away. Proceeds to get carried away. But like, and he should be. He should be feeling that. Like he should be having that little bit of bravado here pumping out, because he's been preaching the work stuff with the guys, and that work is paying off, showing dividends. And, everyone's glazing this Galaxy team, and you looked at where they were last year, what happened, how quickly that turned around. We suffered a much more catastrophic situation than they did with Claudio. Like, we had to do a national scandal, and then we have a coach who doesn't know how to do GM stuff, being a GM, giving out shit deals,
blasting out contract extensions, just a fucking contract extension machine gun.
Yeah, we need someone. We need bodies, So like, we're passing out. So like, this has been, as far as fucking like rebuilds go. You know what I mean? Like, there's teams still stuck in rebuilds across every single sport that have been in it for 6 or 7 fucking years, trying to figure out some sort of way. And I'm not saying that this team is anywhere near complete, because obviously we know more is still coming. But like, again, it is this core of guys who we are allowing to flourish and grow in the way and the style that we want to play. And like that or love that, it's working right now. And again, like you talked about with the flexibility, that's a growth thing from Josh too. Like, we got to be able to acknowledge that he has the capacity to grow just like any of these players do. I don't think the guy is completely stuck in his ways, like the quote unquote wolf ball situation. Like, that's
it's wolf ball when you lose, bro.
Yeah, it's a cute moniker. Like, great. Like, it's a good little nickname, but still the man has the ability to grow and like to progress this team forward. And that's just a good thing for everyone involved right now. So, I'm glad that he's talking his shit a little bit. Like, it is what it is, man. Like, he's going to be able to puff his chest out a bit when you spank a team like this. They come into our house.
Yep. Well, I think too, like we talked about in the preseason, that part of again, I think at that point we felt like we were maybe grasping at straws with this type of take, but like the fact that Roto is in-house and we get to talk to him every day, and he's out, I'm out looking at practice over the fence in the preseason, and Roto's out there in his big oversized coat, like, I think that's probably helping the coaching staff as well, just to have that mind in the building. Cause he's like, I don't know, puppet master is probably a little strong, but
he's a competitor too.
Yeah, absolutely. And at the highest level in this sport, right?
He knows what it takes.
Yeah. So again, having that asset, not just for the player acquisition, but for our coaching staff, and hopefully, for coaches to come, right? Because it might not be Josh Wolf under Rodolfo Borrell for his entire tenure. And I don't care who you bring in. It's going to be helpful to have the mind of Roto there, just at the very least, to be making suggestions, if not helping dictate how the team is actually playing.
Absolutely. And there was a clip that the team put up on Instagram where Diego gets the game ball and he makes a comment. I can't remember exactly what he says. I don't want to misquote him. But basically, he said, like, this is the most honest, or like, is that what he said? Like, the most honest team I've ever been on.
Yeah.
Something along those lines. And, that's not like a usual compliment that you hear from a locker room about a team. Like, people like to talk about connectivity and like camaraderie and everything like that. You have player speak too. There's coach speak. There's also player speak. But like, for him to say like, this team is honest, what that means, being honest about the mistakes that we've made in the past, being honest about the fact that sometimes we're just not that good. Like, we don't have the entire lineup filled out the way we want it, but we're still going to go to battle. And like, I think that he embraced that personally before he even got here, but now to be like in it and like having that go, like the career that he's had to be, for him to say that, I thought was really powerful. I thought that was an impactful thing for him to make a statement on.
Yeah, I've got it right here. He says, I think we all deserve this win. This is the most honest group of guys that I've ever played with in my entire life. We do whatever coaches tell us to do. That's great. This is a win for everybody. So thank you, was his game ball speech there. So yeah. And again, mature player there, experienced player in the locker room. And you like to see that, that's some more is leadership coming from, I think, a lot of areas on this roster.
I was just about to say that. And like, we catch flack for, and we've given this team flack for bringing in older guys and having a bit of an older roster, but we do have some strong personality leadership characteristics from a lot of different guys, from a lot of different, like, you have Hector, who's a reserved kind of guy, but also a leader, like, in the position that he's the limited position that he has. I know that he has a positive voice for this team. You have Diego, firecracker guy, spicy, going to be giving it, giving his all. And then you have statements like that. Obviously, you can't forget about Alex, who's not even our captain, but does so many captain tasks and duties for this team. Number 10, who continues to get better in that aspect as well. And I like that he's almost kind of like taking that off of plate a little bit, and like you can delegate some of that. I mean, like, we're gonna get you to do some pretty incredible things out there, which he did all game last game. It was a wonderful sight to see. But it's a decent mix of guys who have the leadership stuff and some younger guys that we're getting along, and it's a long journey, and it's going to keep growing. And it's fucking fun, man.
Yeah, and then Coach, like you said, Coach continued to praise the defensive effort. 2 straight clean sheets, right? And over the last 3 matches, just 1 goal let in, and 2 of those matches were on the road, and the 1 goal that goes in was the little just dribbler from Klaus. So pretty darn good. He says it piggybacks a lot of what we worked on in the preseason. Said Coach. He said we've had flexibility in our structure, and it has to hold up in games for us to get the validation, for the players to get that validation and belief. And that's, again, something that kind of we were talking about through the rough start to the season, is that we're right there. You play with Philly, you get that draw with no Seba still at that point, if I recall correctly, then St. Louis. Extremely unlucky to not get 3 points at home there. And then it bounces back. You get some luck with a healthy Seba against San Jose at home. And we don't need to rehash the entire 10-game slate so far, but validation and belief, I think, are 2 terms that I absolutely agree with. And to hear that coming out of that locker room is good, because there's no medicine like winning, right? Exactly. And so the confidence just has to be brimming over with those guys. Headed next weekend to a place where we have never won, north of the border there in Vancouver, on the turf.
Yep. And I mean, like you said, winning changes, like, it changes everything. It cures everything. But when you're particularly like relying and banking on the fact that we're doing the right things in practice, we're doing the right things in games, and then like we're living with the results, it's always just is able to make that stuff. You can buy into it more, because now you're seeing the wins kind of start to come. And like, you have to be, I mean, when you saw this team come out yesterday, that's the first thing I thought was, okay, we want to play with this team. Like, we're not like, we believe we can win this game, and that is a confidence thing. And we showed it, and we proved it, and it was awesome. And look, man, they fractured pretty quick.
Yeah, they did.
They fell apart pretty fast in this game, and really, the biggest lifeline they get is from that quick take on a foul call outside the box. And it's just like, other than that, my brother, he didn't have any big chances. Like, it was not a problem for us. And obviously we got to the part of the pod where we got to give Bradley Scott Stuber his flowers. And I don't watch every game. I don't watch every minute of every game, but you'd be hard pressed to convince me that there's a keeper playing better than this man right now, in regard to what he's been dealing with throughout the course of this season, the volume that he has to deal with, and then just coming up with absolutely massive saves when we need him. And, when we did the interview with him, and that was so awesome to have him on there. And like, the one thing that I was concerned about with him putting on some more weight was his reaction time off the ground. And he has gotten faster, it looks like, to be honest. Like, it looks like he hasn't looked this good to me in a very, very long time. Like, he's just otherworldly right now.
Yeah. Hot right now, that Brad Stuber. So I would say, reading those quotes from Phil West over at Verde All Day, if you go subscribe to Phil, you also get some quotes from Brad Stuber and Ethan Finley from Postgame last night. So would always, of course, encourage everybody who hasn't to go subscribe to Phil. Anything else for you on this game, E, before we move on?
No, man, it was a domination. We were the better team on that day. And, I don't know if that will always hold out and play out that way, but we were the better team yesterday, and we deserved to win, and we won in dominating fashion. And that is an awesome thing to do, especially coming off such an emotional high from that Houston game. You beat a rival at the death, and then you got to bounce back and get this juggernaut coming in here to our house. And to be able to put that Houston match behind us, come out prepared, confident, and ready versus this Galaxy team, and utterly dismantle them at every facet of the game was just awesome.
I'm with you. Before we get to last business day here and close out the pod, we did get some news on Friday morning in the form of a contract extension for Žan Kolmanič. So this coming, again, kind of out of nowhere in my eyes. I'm interested to hear your thoughts. Kolmanič signs for one additional year through the end of the 2025 season with a team option for 2026. So, I mean, I guess taking a look here, and we went to work on Friday morning, of course, with the salary cap sheets. And so taking a look at the depth chart here specifically with those fullbacks, now you've got Kolmanič under control for 2 more years after he was expiring coming into this season. Of course, we won't know those salaries until salary cap Christmas in April of 2025 when that extension kicks in. But I guess your thoughts on that signing, because I have some that like, I don't know. It was a little confusing for me. What were your thoughts on this extension being announced?
I'm also a bit confused, and I'm interested to hear your take on it because Bieber's better, man. Like,
yeah,
it just it looks so much better when he's out there, and he's fucking bigger.
Yeah,
he's more athletic. He's bigger. He's better on the ball. To me, I'm just confused by it. I really am. Obviously, we have Dessler coming over as well. We just got tied to Wingo here. So, like, this may just be a super nod to we're going to a 5-back. Like, this could just be the ultimate tell that we have going on right here. I'm confused by it.
Yeah, that thought crossed my mind for sure. Obviously, we discussed that last week when we were talking about the Wingo rumor. I also think it's possible that because Žan's contract was coming up and we had no more options, that this could be done to still potentially maybe move him, because if he's under contract and we sell him abroad or whether we sell him in the league, then you can generate some GAM from that, regardless of the destination. So potentially that, but again, Roto might just like what he sees out of Žan, which would be great. Then again, Roto, like you like to say, forgot more about soccer today than I will ever know about in my lifetime. But like, if he sees something in Kolmanič where he wants him around, then I'm with it, man. Like, I'm with it.
Yeah. I'm trusting the process for sure.
Yeah. But like you mentioned, Dessler coming in, and I don't know. I think there may still be another twist or turn here in the Kolmanič saga. But again, you see that fullback depth chart now, 3 guys under control next season in Gallagher, Kolmanič, and Guilherme Biru. And then again, you assume Mikel Dessler is going to be added to that for a number of years come the summer. So anything else for you on this signing? Again, I think good for Žan. Again, coming back from that ACL, he's still a young player. But I'm just not going to have the same reaction to this extension as I will like a Driussi type of player, right? Naturally.
Understood. Definitely congrats to him. And we'll see how it plays out. We'll see what comes of it.
All right. So before we get into last business day, we do need to check in on
the best keeper in the world.
Damian Las. We had question marks abound given the fact that Damian Las has not started the last 2 games for Louisville City FC. But come Saturday night, Damian in the starting 11. And boy, do Louisville City bounce back in a big way. A 6-0 home victory against Hartford Athletic. Damian, of course, the clean sheet there. Did not have to make any saves. Had 15 touches the whole game, 11 of 13 accurate passes, 5 of 6 on his long balls, 17 shots to 3 in favor of Louisville there, 10 to none on target, 4 big chances to none. So easy day at the office. It's a casual Friday for Damian there. So
they got a 6-0 win and a 5-0 win now?
I believe so. Let me see.
Wow.
Louisville. Again, but in the table now, 18 points from their 7 matches on a points per game basis. They are just behind Detroit City FC, I believe. But still, again, continuing the hot start to the season, 6 wins in their 7 matches so far. And looking back on those wins, they did have that 5-0 win, good call by you, against Birmingham Legion back in March.
Well, I mean, we want him to get some work, but this isn't what we meant by it, y'all. Like we want him to get some, like we want him to play, but like we want him to play,
Yeah.
So
well, we can get into last business day here. Just a quick recap of the match against Ventura County FC. Of course, that is the LA Galaxy's affiliate in MLS Next Pro. This was at the pitch, and taking a look at that lineup for FCito. We did see the return, and this is something we were talking about on Wednesday and really over the last couple of weeks as that striker position has been in flux. Sebastian Pino does get back into the lineup here up top. Then you had Micah out on the wings again, across from Jimmy, Bobo, Irvin, Alonso, and then that same back line with Alstrup in net. And then on the bench, Cervantes, Arellano, Wolf, Deanda, Louis Jean, Miller, Spadafora, Santillan, and Reyna. Any thoughts for you on that lineup?
Good to see Sebas in there. We like that a lot, and he comes up in a big way here. And they're experimenting with stuff, moving things around, trying pieces in new places, and I'm for that for this progression, this league that we're in here with Next Pro.
Yeah,
got to get these kids reps, man.
Yeah, well, again, kind of similar to last week when we were on the road at the town. You and I probably saw 50 minutes of this match. I will say, not realizing in the middle of the match that Brady Scott was in net for Ventura County.
Yeah.
And again, if you remember back to 2021, Brady Scott was one of our expansion draft picks, which if you want to, give a one more fuck you, Claudio there, just holy shit. Now this guy's in Next Pro. That was pretty entertaining. And then what was even more entertaining is a first half Sebastian Pino brace, first one in the 17th minute off the Ruben Bonachera cross. So Ruben gets on the board with an assist, and then pouncing on a wayward pass at the back here by Ventura is Pino, taking it himself. Great finish and grabs that first half brace. So man, at halftime we're flying.
Yeah, and I mean, like this is the type of stuff that we came to expect from him once you saw him come on so strongly last season, and for him to like have this rocky start, potentially be in the doghouse a little bit, and then go out there and have this type of performance is a great sign for him moving along and progressing with gaining back Utley's kind of trust and all that stuff. So good on him for sure.
Yeah, and then he almost picks up the first hat trick in FCito history. 47th minute, little chipped attempt over Brady Scott there in net, and it goes just wide left. But that attempt on the break, I mean, that really would have put this one away. And then Ventura on the comeback trail here, 55th minute, chaotic free kick here coming in from the left. Took 3 touches / bounces before falling to the feet of Bibu. And that goal was coming, man, in like the first 10 minutes. Like, I know we talked about that Pino chance, but it was all Ventura County here really in the second half.
Yeah, had to weather the storm, and we did not do a great job with it here. But man, that kick, because I'm definitely it's a little fuzzy up there right now with this game because we had a lot going on. But I do remember that kick, and super unfortunate. But like you said, they had earned the right to put one behind Alstrup, in the long run here.
When our guys again as much water that we were taking on in that second half, we almost escaped, but then in stoppage time, just a back-breaking equalizer. And this was off an Alstrup goal kick that like looked like he kind of mishit it a little bit. It was really low and kind of struggled to make it to the half line. And then I don't know, man, I think you got to credit Hernandez here with the finish, because from distance to equalize there on the break, I thought Marcus Alstrup was solid on the night, and I don't blame him one bit for this, because you got to credit the offensive player here, I think. Nothing
you can do about that. Hell of a move. Left-footed, right?
Yeah.
Just buries it in that far post there, man. Yeah, it was a very, very nice strike and a very, very hurtful one to us and painful.
So we pick up the point, go to PKs, where Sheikh Touré is the only player who has his attempt blocked. So 5-4 in favor of Ventura County. They leave with the extra point. So no two ways about it, man. Disappointing to not get 3 here, and even worse to not get the extra point from that winning position we were in stoppage time.
Have we not won a PK yet?
No.
Right.
And I think this is, I mean, we've only been in 2, right? And it's been the last 2 games. But this one, I mean, we did a little bit better, at least with our chances here, but we didn't get the stops from Allstrup like we did last week against the Town. So, I mean, who would have thought you lose the best keeper in the league and, you're not winning every shootout.
Yeah.
So, FCito back in action this Friday, actually out there in Colorado to take on Rapids 2. So we will have that preview on Wednesday's episode, where we will also preview the upcoming match against the Vancouver Whitecaps and talk everything else Austin FC in between. Anything else for you before we get out of here on another victorious happy pod?
Happy for us, Verde fam. Super happy for us. So enjoy the start to your week, y'all. Got another test coming up. We'll be ready for it. I'll be looking forward to it. For now, fuck the LA Galaxy.
Couldn't have said it better myself, my friend. So we'll see you all back here on Wednesday evening for another edition of the North End podcast. Until then, he's E, and I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.